Hi, everybody, and welcome to the 32nd episode of Rambling Weekly. It's going to be a bit of a dark one, maybe. I don't know. I said that for one of the other ones, and then I just kind of went ranting and talked about Spill Money ice cream. So heads up on that. Yeah, let's get into it. The music for this episode is going to come from the soundtrack of Legend of Heroes 5, A Cagesong of the Ocean, Eiyu Densetsu Umi no Oriuta. It's the game that ends the Gagav trilogy and then is one step away from the 1,000-episode game series that is going on right now with Falcom. Boy, oh boy. Back when I knew restraint. If you end up playing any of the Gagav trilogy, you would see a lot of the thoughts and processes and all that fun jazz echoed in Trails in the Sky and Trails of Zero, Trails of Azure, in particular because they're very similar. There's some differences, but they're very similar. This song, Never Give Up, like most of the songs, I want to say it's a battle theme. It's been ages since I've played it, so my brain is a little murky on that. I know the other two are battle themes, and then one is definitely not a battle theme, but I'll have a moment where I want to talk about that other one later. But yeah, how's everybody doing today? Doing well? Doing good? And myself, I'm doing all right. I've still been tackling the last spell. I've also played the second wave of the Mario Kart 8 DLC. It's painfully mediocre. I don't hate it, but the new track isn't nearly as good as the Ninja Hideaway one from the first wave. It's this weird up in the air sky thing that's segmented, and there's some steep inclines that kind of makes me think of the Donkey Kong mountain map from the GameCube from Double Dash, but even steeper. Other than that, the tour maps are kind of cool. The tweak that they made to the Calamari Desert, you go around it once normally, and then the second time you're around, you go on the ramp, and you're going against the train on the train tracks. That's fine. Like, I didn't mind that so much. The Mushroom Gorge track returns. It feels a little weird this time around versus playing it in the Wii. I don't know. There's just something up with it. It just seems off. But maybe that's just because I haven't played it in forever. Waluigi Pinball, I guess. Yay. I don't know. It's just not nearly as fun as the first bout. It is what it is. I've also been dabbling a little bit in Live a Live. However, I probably picked the wrong character to start with. I picked Pogo, and I know I can change it to whatever, but I picked Pogo. Prehistoric. Neat idea to be like, hey, no dialogue really. You're going to get grunts and expressions and gestures and stuff like that. So that's cool. Except for I was really hoping for, Pogo talk. Pogo fire bad. That kind of thing. Yeah, not yet. If that is the case. I may have to shift gears to pick a different first chapter to go with, but I'm not too keen on prehistoric chapters, so I was kind of like, let's get this one out of the way. The battle system's kind of weird too, but it could be worse. Yeah, I don't know if there's really much else I got going on there. Been working a bunch. I feel empty and alone because I don't have pizza. There's no pizza in my fridge or freezer, and I always make sure to have a spare pizza, and I don't. And it pains me, not just because of the cheese that's clogging my heart, but because I have no pizza in my house. So, that. Yeah, that's really about it. No, not too much else going on at the moment. I have been keeping good on my habits, though, of keeping up with Rambling Weekly, doing the other podcast, the Power On podcast, Double O Status with Sushi, and keeping with my writing and stuff. So, that's been good in that front. So, it's not like I'm just completely, even though I'm working a bit more, I'm shirking my responsibilities on other stuff. So, I'm happy about that. So, the topic for today is, like I said, it might spin off and not be nearly as dark as what I'm anticipating, but just, it'll really show how misanthropic I can feel at times, and I know we all can feel that way. But, yeah, I just want to talk about how grumpy people old and young make me feel. So I'll talk to you after the break. Alright, that song there is For Those Whom We Must Protect. I want to say it sounds like something from like Mario 64 in a way. Like just that like opening melody and stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm just misattributing it or something. But that's what I initially get. I'm like, that sounds like something from Mario 64. And then I'm just like, oh, okay, never mind. Wait, it kind of still sounds like something. But yeah, I like the tune. It's a good song. So For Those Whom We Must Protect. Good, wholesome music. Yeah. But yeah. So the topic for this episode, like I said, is just me being grouchy and wanting to complain about things. I'm going to start with the older generation of folks who this thread starts with them and then it bleeds out further. They have this wonderful knack of wanting to dismantle any sort of responsibility or any we'll just go with responsibility of, oh, you're an older person. Hey, sir or ma'am. Kind of thing. Oh, don't call me Mr. or Miss. I'm too hip to be square. Let's just call me, whatever. Call me Robert. Call me Rob. Or whatever. So they put up this front of wanting to dismantle themselves from the responsibility of becoming older. They want to be like, oh no, I am in a hierarchical sense, not in any sort of, not like one sense of just, hierarchy of age. We'll say age doesn't equate to anything else, just an age. No, it's in a way to easily identify, possibly trying to show some sort of maybe honor or celebration of that age by saying, hey, sir, hey, ma'am, Mr., Miss, Mrs., that sort of thing. Instead, they don't want that. They like, no, I can't be getting older. Yeah, this can't be happening. I'm only in my mid-40s, kind of thing. And it's like, you're supposed to accept it and then kind of carry on that that responsibility, that mantle, that recognition that you are now in this stage, this part of the play. You see it playing out as well in Generation X and Millennials. Get into this a similar sort of vibe with either teachers trying to be their friends with the students or parents trying to be the friend of their kids instead of being as parents. And you need that guidance. Sure, there's a lot of ways that can go wrong. We're people. We're messy. We goof things up really bad all the time. But that's what you're supposed to have the bumper rails on for the kids so that the kids can kind of play in that little playground before they too get to join in on the fun of mucking things up. But no, instead it is as much of an effort to turn everything into a middle and not put any sort of pronounced beginning or end. There's no I don't want to be part of the responsible. There's that Greek quote that I'm going to paraphrase it. I always really like about the elderly. You have a healthy society when the elderly plant trees that they will never know the shade of. And I don't think that that's what goes on, especially with how immediate people want to act on things. It's always about in the moment, much less about thinking of the future and all that sort of stuff. And this weird, because it's not a resignation towards it, because it's almost like a complete disregard and disassociation and Like, oh, if I don't think about it, it's not true. Like, oh, if I'm not, if I don't think about getting older, there's no way it's happening. you know. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like if life is a song and there are many, many bridges and I don't know, just parts of a song. Bridge is the only one that's going in my head right now. If there are lots of things going on in the song, we kind of seem to be stuck on loop at like the same 20 to 40 second loop. That's what it feels like. People don't want to go beyond and finish out the rest of their song. We'll say. And sometimes people don't even want to start their song. Yeah, that I am really not too keen on that. Like, just know your place and that sort of thing. And I know that might sound really like derogatory, maybe. Like, know your place. Yeah. But I think there's a healthiness to being able to recognize where you are in things like in life, or being able to understand your own limitations and all that sort of thing. Because when it bleeds into the Gen X and millennial sort of aspect, you get a whole heaping of silliness. That in a way, it's really hard for me to talk about millennials. Is like, I was really an outcast for a sizable portion of my childhood up until really high school. And then, even then, I was still kind of an outsider in some regards, because I didn't grow up with a lot of these people, and it was a smaller town. There's always that distance with a lot of people. It's like, you weren't there in fourth grade, man. You weren't there, kind of thing. I've always been a bit of a, I hate saying it this way, but a lone wolf in that regard. Like, ostracized as a kid for, I had to wear the bubble thing on my ear for the surgeries and stuff like that, so I always got picked on for that. I was just a dorky kid, and, dorky kids really, they kind of get the... they get the brunt of the attacks from kids there. And it's like, it is what it is. Oh no, my AC kicked on. Timeout. Whoops, totally forgot about that. Anyway, yeah, kids can be brutal. But I've always had this distance towards the group, towards people my own age and everything. Very, very syncopated life. So I have a hard time fitting in with a lot of them. And it's just kind of like, yeah, I can get along, but it's more of like a lot of stuff I just kind of like, I don't really care. Like, this is not interesting to me. Sort of thing. Even when it comes to like game choices and stuff, there's not a ton of people where I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. But more importantly, they continued that trend of this. Don't give me the responsibility of this as I age, to kind of help lift things up or to try to keep things going. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of hits that the Gen X, less them, more the millennials. Gen X had some issues, but they also got to enjoy the 90s, as the millennials kind of sort of did, but they were like really young, so there's a lot of stuff they didn't get to really appreciate or understand about the quote-unquote wonderful 90s. Get slapped in the face with 2001, and a really crummy economy for most of the aughts. Really kind of poopy. And then things go sideways with the mortgages in 2008, and then things kind of just sort of, they rebounded, but they rebounded in a way that the ball just rolled backwards and just kept sliding. And it's been sliding ever since. And then we had the COVID hit, and then the silliness that we got going on now in life. So, we are being battered and beaten like Rocky. And that's everybody at this point. It doesn't seem to... I remember seeing something with the accumulation of wealth and resources and stuff, and you could see it between the boomers, Gen X, and millennials, that millennials were just like fractions compared to the two generations before it. And it's just like, oh boy. And then there's this sort of resignation and just sort of defeatist mentality that a lot of people get. They get stuck in this malaise, and I get it. It's hard to really see or be able to be positive or push through, and it feels like you're getting kicked in the teeth every time you try to do something. I get that. But I guess I'm obstinate enough to be like, yeah, I will be like Rocky. It doesn't matter how hard you get or how hard you hit. It's about getting hit about how hard you get hit and then get back up, kind of thing. Yeah, totally nailed it. Woo! But like, I get it. It's not fun. This always boggles my mind of this promise of what like that life is to be fun. Like, we always want to rail on stuff nowadays about how it's a misattributing any sort of thing that goes on, or it just takes one small aspect and blows it out of proportion. But then we don't like think of that when it comes to the stuff back in the past. It's like, it's the same thing. You're just getting such a microcosm of life back then. What makes you think that like everything was sunshine and rainbows? It certainly wasn't. There were lots of fun times. We seem to be repeating some of those fun times, like back in the 70s and stuff. So, yay! The 70s had disco. Was disco really that exciting to cover up for all of the loop-de-loop stuff that was going on? I don't know. Maybe we might get a new genre. Maybe something will take hold that'll be really, really interesting. Kind of waiting on that since we've been stuck circling the ever-living hell of pop for 20-some odd years. Ugh. But I don't know, you see this, and this will be probably for another episode as well, talking about how like the internet, you can see how it's lagged, because you have a generation of people who that's what they've grown up on, and they've gotten old, and they don't want to accept getting old. And that's of course not saying everybody, but I think that unwillingness to accept certain aspects of things, it permeates and kind of bleeds further out from the original core, that thread starting with, maybe somebody will say, you're just being, I don't remember, slippery sloping. Well, I'm going to slide my way into thinking this, because that's how I am. But I think it's important. It's similarly to anything that's regimented. If you start to get outside of that regiment, you're willing to kind of mix and match and stuff. I do the same thing. Like, if I'm not regimented on stuff, I will start to freestyle, and it sometimes goes really, really poorly. And that's not to say you should have everything regimented, be like, boom, 8 o'clock this, boom, 9 o'clock this, boom, 9:30 this, what have you. Nah, that is a martial attitude way too far from me. Life should have spontaneity to it. There should be these random moments of quote-unquote chaos, where you have the inversion of that, where it's all sorts of chaos and not really so much in the way of regiment. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it feels like. And inside that chaos, there's not really a lot of uniformity. I don't see it. I mean, you could see pockets of it here and there, but they clash so wildly with other pockets that it's just like, oh, this is very caustic. Not only is it caustic, it is very volatile, and it's going to blow up, and it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun at all. Which leads me to the Zoomer menace that, not of course everybody, they seem to have this. Millennials kind of get into this habit as well, because it's just this apathy and this defeatist attitude of just, why even try? There's no point. We need to completely destroy things to put it back together. But I think of it always as like a train that has gone out of control, and the only thing left for it to do is crash. And when it crashes, it's not pretty. And not only is it not pretty, but it is going to hurt a lot of people. And I feel like some people would be like, I'm of the opinion, devil you know over the devil you don't. But a lot of people seem to have it in their heads that they're a lot smarter and more put together than what they really are. So they're like, yes, let me take on the Mad Max future hellscape. I would totally be humongous, Lord Humongous, or something of that sort. I will be a super duper caliber person and make things work out in my pocket of society that is now surrounded by nuclear hellfire. Sure. Sure, okay. I'm not for that. Really, not for that at all. I don't know. And this isn't strictly the Zoomers as well, but there is this really annoying inward narcissistic tinge that people seem to be unable to speak beyond themselves. Like, the conversation has to be about what I do, what I like, and I'm going to talk at you instead of with you, and have, it's like you agree to play tennis with somebody, but the other person just wants to serve, and that's it. They don't want to do anything else. They just want to serve. It's like, this is not a fun conversation. Like I every now and again it's fine to kind of vent or put that out. Heck, I'm kind of doing that now with the podcast. Like it is a somewhat one directional sort of thing. I get comments and stuff that makes it a little bit more two directional and stuff. Like, I get that. But a lot of people just wants to be this I'm gonna serve. And it's like, this is not an interesting conversation. Why am I even here? I'm just a soundboard, and I'm not a very good one. Like, in the sense of, it takes a lot of effort for me to just listen to it, and I don't really want to do that. Not all the time. Yeah, that's what it feels like. There's this inability to have conversations, inability to step out from oneself. Maybe it's not even an inability. Maybe it's just not a want. It just feels like there's too much, how you, like, it's just like, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing all right. Not like it matters, because nobody will listen to my complaints. And it's like, really? This is the page we're on? Just trying to figure out how you're doing, and then you just you've made a complaint about being unable to complain about things, or that nobody will listen to your complaints. What is this? What kind of mentality is this? Like, talk to your dog. Your dog will be very appreciative that you're giving them attention. Maybe not the cat. The cat will probably just be like, whatever. Go, talk to a tree. See how the tree responds and stuff. Like, I don't get this attitude. I'm just, not to say that it just strictly comes from, that's what I mentioned at the beginning of the segment, but there's just this disinterest and unwanted, and I get it, because it gets really annoying doing, like, middle management work where you're getting obnoxiousness from both sides, uppers and lowers. Oh no. That's that alarm. I don't know if you can hear it, but that alarm comes out at noon on this day. So, I'm recording at noon. That or I'm about to die. But it's the way you have fun with things. As I try to... This actually leans nicely into what I'm going to go into, because this sort of attitude is not gonna end very well. Like, I see it with younger people, where they have complete blatant disregard for doing anything that makes them feel uncomfortable. And I don't even mean like weird, like sick, heinous stuff, but I mean just moments worth of discomfort is like an attack on the soul. And instead of seeing that as an opportunity to navigate around it or to hurdle it, it is just, all this is awful. Why are you putting me in this position? Why do I have to do this? I'm not going to do this. I'm going to bail out. And keep that attitude. See how far that gets you. And I don't mean in the sense of rising the corporate ladder. I mean in life in general. Because it's not going to do you well. It really is not going to do you well. Especially when the machinations of the previous people's actions really... Yeah, the echoes are still there, but then you're the one left holding a wheel that you have absolutely made no effort. Like, how well does one do? How well does one rise to the occasion when they've never exercise themselves mentally, physically, what have you? So, like, spiritually, socially, how well will you do when you have to then jump and hold the wheel? Because it doesn't feel like it's going to go very well. You're not going to have the experience. You're not going to have a great gut sense of what to do. That's a big gamble. It's a big gamble to be like, yeah, totally, got it, nailed it. But people seem fine with that. People, my father's bad about this as well, where it's like, oh, I'll just, I'm really, like, yeah, I procrastinate, but in the 11th hour, I get it done. And it's like, the world spins a lot faster. I don't necessarily mean that because there was that the science article about that a couple days ago. It was the fastest the world has ever spun. It was the fastest day ever. I don't mean necessarily like that, but things go rather quickly, and that's a very easy and quick way to get caught with your hands in the cookie jar, your pants down, I don't know, your pants in the cookie jar, I don't know. It's not looking good. Like, it looks really bad, and it's a disservice to this. To me, yeah, it's a disservice. It's like you're cutting your nose off to spite your face, and not seeing it like that, but seeing it as some sort of dissociative, oh, it's because of these people before us, ha 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 ha, we'll get back at them by letting everything crumble. Okay, you have fun with that. I certainly won't be around for it. Like, I'll probably be dead by then. If not, close to it, close enough. Be like, oh, what is it, Archimedes? Leave my circles alone. Stab. Ugh. I don't know. If anything, there'll just be this hollow laughter that I have for just how horrible things have turned out, partially because nobody wants to take any sort of responsibility for anything, and the ones that end up doing it, or the ones that do want to try to do it, they get a whole bunch of flack in return. Very ungrateful. It should make for horribly fun times. In the same hand, not that I don't care, but I won't have any sympathy. I guess that's probably the best way to put it. Yeah, that's it. That's I guess my rant. Yay, people. On to the quote. Welcome back. The song there is Tears and Thoughts of That Day. Tears and Thoughts of That Day. And if I could learn how to talk, it would be really, 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 really nice. Gracious had to get something to drink. But that song, Tears and Thoughts of That Day, is... I really like it. I like the music box tone to it at first, and then it gives way to this piano and strings, quote unquote. It's just a really good song. Plus, it makes me think of music from Trails of Zero. I'm not going to get into it because it's a bit spoiler heavy in that, but it just makes me think of a particular bit that goes on in that duology that I really like. Good tune. Good tune. Really, really enjoy it. For this one, we're going to go with a heavy-hitting quote all about narcissism from Carl Jung. I think it's appropriate. And that is, an inflated consciousness is always egocentric and conscious of nothing but its own existence. It is incapable of learning from the past, incapable of understanding contemporary events, and incapable of drawing right conclusions about the future. It is hypnotized by itself and therefore cannot be argued with. It inevitably dooms itself to calamities that must strike it dead. That's a bit of a heavy hitter on that one. I tend to agree with it, except for the incapable of drawing right conclusions about the future. Only because people will stumble into the to the correct answer, even if they don't have all the information, all of it's wrong information. Maybe they have a ton of information that's peppered with right and wrong. There is always that instance that somebody will somehow draw the correct conclusion on something. But yeah, I'm very much lock in step with this. It's really sowing your seeds of your own own destruction to be so self-centered and full of yourself. And that's what you see a lot of, is this enamoration with just how amazing oneself is without having done anything. Like I said before in other episodes, it's not in the sense of, oh, I've done this and you haven't done this. More of like, what are you doing? Like, what goals and aspirations do you have? But you're this amazing person, and you're not doing anything. Not to say that you can't be a good person and be kind of within your own little bubble, but I think it makes it really hard to be a good person if you're only in your little bubble. There's a whole wide world out there, and if there's a whole bunch of little bubbles bouncing back and forth, they're gonna start popping. That's just me. Maybe I'm off base, but no, I don't think I am. And I will put my foot down very softly so I don't annoy my neighbors down below. But yeah, it's a very, very bad road to be walking down. So yeah, that is it for me. The song we're playing out to is The Limits of Strength. It's a pretty beastly tune. I want to say they used it as well for some stuff in Ys versus Sora no Kiseki, which I wish they would make another game of. That was really fun. But it's got a very strong Ys flair to it just because of how rocking and stuff is. But yeah. Anyways, that's it for me. I hope you enjoy the week to come. And I don't think I was nearly as dark as what I could have been. But maybe because I know how misanthropic I can be. It's just kind of like, ugh. But anyways, hope you all have a wonderful week to come. And yeah, I will see you on the next episode of Rambling Quickly. I don't know where I'm going. Anyways, take it easy, guys.